Hi, everybody. I wanted to hop on here and talk just directly to you guys a little bit for a few minutes because I wanted to use this as kind of like a study review kind of thing. Generally in class, that's one of my cats. You'll probably see my cat. But generally in class, the day that is coming up for this Monday is a review for the test, and it's usually really fun. And I was gonna do like candy for winning teams because we usually play a game. Sadly, that's not gonna happen. I really miss seeing all of you guys in person. I really miss interacting with you guys in person. But I thought that the best thing to do, because you guys are probably overwhelmed with school moving online, it is harder to do school online for sure in a lot of ways. A lot of the things that we would just normally be like spitballing about back and forth for like discussion is now like written paragraphs, and I know that's more difficult. I know that's harder. So I wanted to just talk about like the paper and the final and what I'm trying to make happen for the final right now, just because I felt like you guys could take that day that we usually use to go over the final as a study day, because there is a study guide on Blackboard under course content. So just we're going to take that day for you guys to kind of catch up, work on your paper, breathe, study for the final. And as in regards to the paper, you guys picked some really interesting pieces. It was really nice having discussions with you guys about art. Love discussing art. It's always a good time. And if I respond to you in the discussion board or anything like that, I'm trying to generate conversation, and I tried to give everybody a little bit of feedback on the paper so that if you were feeling like you didn't have a lot of direction, it's harder because when we're at school in person, you can just come up and ask your question. So I know it's a little harder. On that note, you can always email me if you are super confused and you want to talk to me. Then that's totally fine. Just ask me and I'll send you my phone number. You can text me. We can talk on the phone. So in regard to the paper, I just want to talk about like a few common mistakes and how to avoid them. So a big thing is a lot of people pick color, and there's nothing wrong with picking color, but like we've talked about in class, color can be trickier than I think people think. Because come up here. This is Gus. He's Maine Coon. You want to say hi? Okay. So when we're talking about an element, say hi, Gus. When we're talking about an element or principle, yes, we want to discuss the how and why, okay? So we want to talk about how the artists use color and why they use color, if you choose color. So all those things we talked about in class, like when we had our color theory day, that's really what that was in preparation for, was the paper. So if you are picking color and you're a little confused, well, try to look up a list of complementary colors: red and green, orange and blue, yellow and purple, just any color apart across from each other on the color wheel, okay? So try to look up a list of those maybe, and a lot of times in famous works you're going to see that artists use those. Blue and orange is probably hands down, the most popular one. So you can look up a list of complementary colors, and that will help. You can also talk about warm versus cool, and how warm colors jump forward against cool colors, and how the artist maybe is doing that to emphasize a focal point. So then you can go into your principle of design of emphasis and focal point, and it's a good segue. And you can say, as I said, the artist use warms and cools, and the warm emphasizes the focal point, etc., that kind of thing. And the same is true for any element you choose, okay? We need to just remember to do the how and why of the element. So you don't want to just say, like, the element is line, because you have 30 possible points for your element of art and 30 possible points for your principle of design. Out of those points, though, if the argument's really fuzzy, you're going to lose some points. So that's why I wanted to give you guys another little small review on that and a little bit of a heads up. It's just, you don't want to lose those points. So make sure, like, if you pick line, what kind of line is it? Is it a jagged, angry line? And why would the artist use a jagged, angry line? To perhaps express kind of a chaotic, angry emotion, or are they soft flowing lines and maybe the artist is expressing sadness? And if you feel comfortable, then you can maybe include a second element. This swirling line really speaks of, slow sadness, and this is further emphasized by the heavy use of blue, like maybe in Starry Night would be a good one that you think that the artist is trying to express maybe this emotional thing. But leading into my next point, you only want one element and one principle of design, okay? So that's a common thing too. People will say, well, the artists used shape, line, color, texture. Well, the famous artists are masters of their craft. That's how they got into a museum. So they're going to use shape, line, color, texture, all of them. But the purpose of our paper is to focus on what is most dominant, what is most attention grabbing, okay? The biggest one, the one that hits you first, the one that makes the impression first. Which one is it? We want to focus on the most dominant, okay? And so that kind of takes me to another point. Another thing that I was seeing a lot was that people were including for their principle, they were including elements. So they'd say and that leads me to my biggest element. He's the neediest cat that ever lived. And that brings me to my principle of design, and they'd say texture or something like that, and those are elements. So make sure when you're writing your paper that you look up the elements of art and the principle of design. There's the list, and it's actually on the handout for the paper. They're listed there too, and it's in the paper lecture, which is on Blackboard under course content. Both of those things are the rubric and the slides for the paper review. So both of those are on Blackboard. Review the list. Make sure that you actually have a principle, because if you don't have a principle, that's 30 points off your paper. So that knocks you down to a 70 right away. And then if you make a handful of grammar mistakes or grammatical mistakes, then you're down to a 60 something. So I don't want that to happen for you guys. And so that's probably why I wanted to talk to you guys about that real quick. The other thing... let's talk about the final. I'm going to keep this a little short because I don't want you guys to have to, and you don't have to watch this. This is going to be kind of an optional thing. But so the final right now, and I really hope I can keep this way because I don't want you guys to prepare for something else, and we're so close, So what I'm going to do with the cat's making me laugh, I'm sorry. What I'm going to do I wish I could show it to you guys. There's no good way to show you what he's doing, but he's anyway, the thing we're going to do for the final is it's memorization. So you're going to want to identify the artist and the title of the painting the same way we were going to do in class. There is a study guide under course content. That's where everything is for the final. And you're going to want to you got to know the artist name and the title. Now, I haven't made the final yet, and since it's online, it might be slightly different, but that's still what you'll need to study. So there might be a few that are more give you the artist and title, and then you choose the image and things like that. So it might be a little mixed up. Also, most likely, there's going to be a pretty short timer on each question because it's at home and I'm not, proctoring it and I'm not there. So just to kind of make sure that you're taking it the way you're supposed to, they're probably going to be timed pretty short per question. That's kind of the best thing I've been able to come up with. So what you're going to want to do is study and have those in your head ready to go, so it shouldn't take you more than, let's say, a minute. If they're that probably will be what I do, like a minute, maybe a minute and a half per question, so that you already have it in your head, you see the painting, and you can go and just type it out. So that's the plan right now for the final. So take this time to study and work on your paper, and we'll have another discussion for Wednesday. But I just wanted to go over those things with you guys real quick because my son left a pile of blankets. It's a little messy in here. Things are a little crazy. There's toilet paper back. On a serious note, I miss interacting with all of you. I miss having face-to-face discussions about art. It's surreal. And I hope everybody's staying safe. On a very serious note, I hope that you are all staying safe and healthy, and that your families are safe and healthy. I'm sure you're sick of me saying it, but really don't hesitate to reach out if you're struggling. If you're struggling with what to do for the discussion boards, if something's giving you trouble, if maybe you're just not used to this and you don't, you need just, oh, how do I upload an image? Where's the button for that? I can send you screenshots. I can walk you through it. You can call me, whatever you need. And I think that's it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else for the paper that I wanted to discuss with you guys. So somebody asked me if it should be double spaced. I'm not going to penalize you for that since I haven't brought that up before. But I would prefer it. It'd be nice if it was double spaced because it's easier for me to read and it's easier for me to grade. So obviously you're not going to get penalized if you haven't done that. Now what I do penalize for though, and this is probably a good one to bring up, and I did mention this a lot in class, is if your paragraphs are less than 4 sentences. This is because it's already such a short paper, and I don't think that you can describe what you're needing to describe accurately with less than 4 sentences per paragraph. I do take off per sentence missed. So make sure you have at least 4 sentences per paragraph. Oh, but on the other hand, you also don't want to write too much. That is a possibility because I've had people turn in like 3-page papers, and it's not that I want to penalize you for doing extra work, and I don't, but it can end up where you're kind of messing yourself up, because if the minor grammatical errors add up. So if you write 3 pages and I had somebody one time turn one in that had a lot of run-on sentences. Well, the paper was well explained, but because it was 3 pages, the run-on sentences ended up really, kind of messing the person up. So don't mess yourself up. Keep it the right length and things like that. All right, well, I think that's it. Again, reach out if you need to. See you guys soon.